on the earrings.
It's
Leave
called
it.
for.
Right, realize. Realize.
It's
We
your fault,
alive.
Paul.
We alive, and I apologize. I was deep, deep, deep in New Jersey, and ETA to my house when I plugged it in said crazy 2 hours.
Ooh,
Wow.
And
I know
Traffic,
you was like, what?
weather.
yeah, and that was on traffic. Well, if it wasn't for the traffic, I would have been here long ago. So anyway, today we're talking about Kevin wanted to hit this up. We're talking about Ice Cube has a plan for America. Um, I know Malcolm X said in the past that the only people we have speaking for us are entertainers, singers, dancers. For some reason, those are the only people that can speak for us. I don't. I'll take it because they don't allow the smarter people to, the knowledgeable people to do anything. They kind of hold them back, I think. But Kevin likes a lot of the stuff that Ice Cube talked about, so we're gonna jump into that. Ice Cube has a plan for Black America. Tiffany, 40 Acres and a Mule. Tiffany always coming with the great topics. There was actually a contract. I actually thought that was just a saying. I actually thought that was just a thing people said. I want my 40 acres and a mule. I didn't know it was a thing. Tiffany,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
I did. Dude,
You
I
must have,
have no idea how much stuff I've learned
you
since
must have watched no Spike Lee movies in your life.
you have no.
That's
This
the
is
name of
why
his company.
I know people get mad at people from the Caribbean coming to America and acting all not aware of the shit that's been going on, but we just don't know.
Mom and
And
my
the
podcast.
queen did not want y'all to know.
We just did not know. So kudos
Yeah.
to you guys for and I want to get into Tiffany sent me a video of Joe Scott
Woo.
rearranging national anthem, and it
You're
got
gonna start the show with that?
very heated. I want to just jump into that first. Joe Scott, man, she sang it at the Essence Festival.
Mm.
I gotta sip to that.
People mad. Have you seen whole Jill Scott thing?
I have not seen it or
Yeah,
heard anything about it.
Ooh, you're
Wow.
gonna enjoy it.
and
Okay.
I'm twerking at the Essence Festival, and Ari was not happy. She thought it was degrading to women. Is twerking a part of our culture? I mean,
You
that's.
know what?
It's
I don't know. I think it is,
I
but I
mean, there's
mean,
a place for it, right? But I mean, is it appropriate some places, and then some places, I guess, is not appropriate.
it shouldn't be at events where we're
Yeah,
supposed to have class. We're supposed to have class. We're not. I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
I
Even at
even
the
heard yeah.
yeah.
I even heard people say, well, in Africa they was half naked and they was moving their body and dancing. But that was, we're not really doing that right now. We're in America and it's a whole different way of thinking. And it's a lot of perverts out there and
You can't
predators
you can't
out
twerk
there.
everywhere you go. There was a black man that opened a restaurant. I want to say Texas. Nice restaurant. He opened it up. And he said he wanted black people to support his business, but then some black women came and during their meal they just got up on the table and started twerking. And he shut
Mm.
it down. He told them, "Get out. This is not the place for that. This is not why I opened this for. I opened it for black people to come and relax and have a good time and nice atmosphere." They went crazy on him. They gave him bad Yelp reviews. They gave him bad Google reviews. They told people not to go there, and you know what I mean. So I think twerking has its place, but it doesn't have to be everywhere. Um,
Mm.
You're 100% right.
yeah. So
Mhm.
anyway, we're gonna kick it off with Miss Jill Scott, and this is being called the new national anthem.
Black Anthem.
New national black anthem. Here we go, folks. Jill Scott.
Oh, say, can you see out in the streets that this place doesn't smile on you, colored child, whose blood built this land with sweat and their hands. But you'll die in this place, and your memory erased. Oh, say, does this truth hold any weight? This is not the land of the free, but the home of the slave.
The level of disrespect Jill Scott had for our entire country is
Good morning, y'all. So, he said that Jill Scott's rendition of the national anthem is a damn disgrace. But I beg to differ. Why is it a damn disgrace? What about our history, our pain, is a disgrace? The only thing that seems to be a disgrace to me is your comment. And another thing that's a disgrace is the people who did those things to my ancestors. That's a disgrace. Another disgrace is the people who still fight for that history to be relived. I mean, what's the point of being upset about history? It's truth. What about our history or your ancestors' history upsets you? Are you mad because those were your grandparents? Are you mad because your child will one day find out that grandma unalived people or watched people being unalive? Is that what upsets you, Richard? How is her song a disgrace? It's beautiful, is what it is. It's heartfelt, unlike some other things. But don't do that. Don't say that her rendition is a disgrace, because it's not. It's truth. It's facts. Seems like that, truth and facts are not appreciated in this day and time. People would rather the lies be continued. I wonder why. I dare to ask, what ethnicity you are, Richard. I dare to ask. I haven't even checked your profile, but hey, who cares? Because that's not even important. What's important is your comment is a disgrace. And that song is beautiful. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Good day, TikTok. Happy 7/7/23. So, I guess yesterday, or it might have been the day before, there's a famous, I never heard of her before, but famous singer by the name of Jill Scott, who decided to do her own rendition of our national anthem. y'all haven't heard this or you haven't seen this yet, I beg you, go look it up. Be somewhere where you can be pissed off. Because as an American, if this doesn't upset you, you are in the wrong country. You don't need to stick around here. Pack your shit up, sell your house, go to some other country. We don't need you here if this don't piss you off. Now, as somebody who has the pleasure and the honor every day of working with veterans, I get to take care of the men and women from Vietnam, Desert Storm, Kuwait, Afghanistan, every war that's been done for a long time. I get to interact and see these veterans and help and treat these veterans, try to take care of them, try to help them with the rest of their lives. I take care of veterans that are black, white, Mexican, Chinese, Middle Eastern, doesn't matter. We have veterans of every sex, every religion, every creed, every color. And I'll tell you right now, that bullshit that Jill Scott put up pisses every one of them off. That ain't what this is here for. You want to make a song about oppression and how tough it is in this country? Shit that you don't know a goddamn thing about? You make your own song. You don't fuck with our anthem. Anyway, that's all I got to say on the matter. God bless y'all. And again, let me know your views in the comments. Appreciate it.
Who say, can you see by the blood in the street?
So we're not going to talk about how awful she sounds. How dare you butcher that specific song? If this was 100 years ago, I would be like, oh yeah, it's rough out here for black people. Yo, you're a millionaire in America. The oppression Olympics doesn't work on me. You know why? I was a full-blown drug addict, sex trafficked in high school, homeless multiple times. I have many reasons to be angry and bitter. But you know what I did? I did the work. I make a 6-figure salary with a high school diploma in America. Oh yeah, I'm crying every night in my deluxe apartment in the sky. What a disgrace.
The level of disrespect.
No,
The level of disrespect Jill Scott had for our entire country is beyond me. I don't know if she's ever been outside of any other, outside of the United States, or if she's ever been in any other countries, or if she's heard stories from other countries, but we are truly blessed to be in the country of America. Once again, America does not have the best history whatsoever, but no one else does. But we have been working as a whole, slowly but surely, to improve the state of our country. But as the black community continues to just sit there and stay stagnant and actually backtrack, and they're now just, they're going backwards from what we've been improving from. It's absolutely disgusting. I want you guys to listen to this clip.
Say, can you see?
are you ready? Are you
Yep.
ready?
Hold
This
on.
is fair use purposes. This is for entertainment purposes. We do not own the rights to any of these materials or anything. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Here we
The chains, we helping you broke the black therapy show. You be in a safe space dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know it, Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany. You'll have an epiphany. We give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you empathy, we gon' challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries, we built all your schools. gave us brainwash education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God above. It's Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany. Now welcome to the Black Therapy Show.
And
Yeah.
hey everybody.
I can feel that heat. I can feel the heat coming off of you. Man,
You said you felt the heat coming
I
off of
felt
me,
the heat.
especially for that girl
I
that
feel-
was made up with all the shots in her face. Yeah,
I
she
felt
needs to
the
go and
heat.
sit down.
Oh my God, I felt the heat. But this shows how divided we are, doesn't it? This shows how divided we are. I mean, that white dude was mild compared to the other video that I saw. A white man wanted to hang Jill Scott. They wanted to lynch Jill Scott for messing with their sacred national anthem.
I believe it. I
That
believe
was
it.
but I couldn't download for some reason, and it wouldn't allow me to download. Some videos allow you to download, some don't. And I wish I had gotten those. Just you can see the level of anger that people.
No, I can't even imagine. We don't want to see it. It's hard. I can't even imagine.
So your thoughts, Tiffany? Why do you love it?
First of all, it was different. You know, it made me be like, go, Jill. And then you saw it in her face. You saw her makeup. You saw it was just, everything was just oozing out of her. She felt the way she felt. And it was her art, how she felt. She can't change anything. That's how she felt through herself. And remember, she has a son. And these past few years, we've been seeing a lot of black men, a lot of black children getting killed. So yes, that's how she felt about it, and it's the truth. I mean, what is the problem? It's the truth. They've written it down. They just don't want their people to know what they did. So, you know, I salute Jill, and we send protection around her and her family, you know, always, and that's her art.
You know what what I find interesting? First of all, I loved it. I loved it. When she ended with Home of the Slave, I have always said that. Land of the Free, Home of the Slave. I've said that many, many times, but she put it in the song. I mean, she got to the end. I was saying to myself, I hope she said slave. I mean, she hit slave. I was like, yes. But why do white people think because black people are successful or have money, have $1 million, $2 million, 10 million, that we should just go about our business and not care about the other black people who don't have what we have? Nobody
they feel like
the Jewish community.
That's because that's how they are.
Mm-hmm. They feel like they lucky. They should be lucky they got that. So why is they complaining? I done heard white people say we gave them free school and free food. Why are they complaining? Yeah, that's how people really think.
So we're supposed to just shut up? Like, remember the girl from Fox News, the lady from Fox News told LeBron James to shut up and dribble?
Yes, that's it. That's it. You just said it. Just shut up and do your job. We don't care what's going on. You got it better anywhere else. You go somewhere else, you can't get it. So you should be happy. But it was our blood, sweat, and tears that's got us to where we at today as black people. But people don't want to recognize that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. America has never acknowledged that. They keep denying that. Even when they deny that slavery happened, they try to push it under the rug. I mean, look at how they're trying to ban all these books. They don't want history taught in schools. They keep trying to pretend like none of this ever happened. So of course we're going to no, it did happen. So for me, what Jill Scott is saying is, yes, it did happen and it continues to happen. I don't care if we have $1 million, I don't care if we have $10, it's still happening.
And she's still a black woman regardless to her money.
Didn't Muhammad Ali say, how can I be happy living on the hill in my mansion with all my millions when my people are still suffering?
Mm-hmm. And he said, how can I go to another country to kill somebody that they never called me nigga?
Correct.
You know, so.
Kev, your thoughts on Jill Scott?
I loved it. I loved it. I think, once again, we're not allowed to express ourselves. You know, for a group of people that have stole so much from us, they actually have the audacity to be mad when we do something that they invented They invented this stupid ass song, bragging about war and murder and all the things that they stole when they came to this country. And they invent this song and they celebrate this 4th of July holiday, which is basically, on the 4th of July, realistically, our ancestors were in the cotton fields, right? So this whole, all of these freaking holidays, man, that America have around wars, and there's several of them, but this particular song, like they're crazy about the flag and they're crazy about the song. Like wasn't it Kaepernick? Excuse me, Kaepernick caught so much heat because he apparently degraded their flag, right? Or their military. Can I say something? I think I gotta get my statistics right because I did have this down. I think 80% of the homeless people in this country are veterans. 80% of the homeless people in this country are veterans. And you know what they do? Every time you get this guy who talks about he works with veterans and how much he cares about veterans, this country don't care about veterans. Most of them are living on the streets. Most of them are homeless. Most of them are homeless. This guy who choked the subway guy, choked the Michael Jackson impersonator.
Yeah.
They keep calling him a Marine, But this guy is only a celebrated Marine, not because of something he did to help our country, but because he, choked a homeless black guy to death,
A homeless entertainer.
Yeah, a homeless entertainer to death. Now he's a celebrated Marine. He's not being lifted up because he got some gold medal for being in the Iraqi war or something like that, this country has proven over and over again that it does not care about veterans
or black people.
They always go to that. They always go to that veteran line, about we care about veterans, but you don't care about veterans. You don't care about veterans. I mean, this country has shown it. They're all homeless. They're all fighting to get benefits that's owed to them, and money that's owed to them. So, they run to this veteran.
Doctors is not good.
You disrespect our veterans. You disrespect our flag. The flag that was, there when we were slaves. How many black people fought for that flag?
That's what I was about to say. What about
they act like black people did not die for that flag? Black people died for that flag. Black people, plenty of black people died for that flag and had no rights. Black people went into war. That's what I wish I could tell that guy this. And if you're watching, black people fought in the wars, came back to this country, World War I, World War II, came back to this country, and still had to sit on the back of the bus. Still couldn't eat at the table with white people.
Okay.
Still were called a nigger.
Okay.
Still treated like second and third hand citizens. But we sit here and pretend that in this country, our veterans are put on a pedestal when America shows us that they're not on a pedestal on a regular basis. They're treated like shit in this country. 80% of them are homeless. I mean, 80% of the homeless people are veterans.
And they don't deal with their mental illness, their drug abuse, their alcoholism. They go through a lot. And then their health, they said most of them VA hospitals is not good. So how you going to come for a lot of things? We all need to upgrade. America do need to upgrade, okay? It's just a lot going on. Yeah, we are the land of the free in many minds. But yeah, a lot of us is still mentally, physically is still enslaved. They hold us back from a lot of things. And it's sad that people don't recognize that. They just see that she disrespected a song. No, she didn't. She just gave her view and on how she as a black woman see the flag. And it shouldn't be nothing wrong with free speech, right?
Yeah. That song is more important than Black lives. That flag is more important than Black lives. I mean, they only care, Colin Kaepernick was saying, hey, I'm not against veterans. I'm not against the flag. I'm just against black men being killed by unarmed black men being killed by cops. And that's why I'm protesting. And then they hijacked it and made it into, because they don't want to deal with racism. They don't want to deal with police brutality. They don't want to deal with the past. They don't want to deal with the history of this country. And all they want to do is worship the flag and worship the songs. And they don't want to talk about when this, you know, when this was it Thomas Jefferson that said all men are created equal. Wasn't he the one that said that? All men are created equal. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson that said that all men are created equal. And when he wrote
which
that,
was not true.
When he wrote that, black people were in slavery.
Right.
That's my point.
So we
black people were in slavery when that was written.
Anyway.
When that was written, yeah. So they don't even look at us as human, because these are all men are treated equal. He wasn't talking about the slaves, because they don't look at us. They didn't look at us as equal humans anyway, or even humans at that point. You know. So yeah, it's just it's sad. You know, I thought the song was perfect. I thought what she said was, you know,
right on the money.
Right on the money.
It was exhilarating. I was like, "Go, Jill!"
This country does not want to face
pearls. It was like, "Ooh."
They just don't want to face.
Yeah.
Everything was
cancer.
serious
until they do what Germany did. It's going to be the same thing. Germany acknowledged the Holocaust. Germany said, yes, we did. And Germany said it's never. All the people in Germany that have monuments, that have stuff up showing you, yeah, we did it. We effed up. We messed up. We murdered Jews. We did this. Admitted it. And now they're moving on. America denied.
They can't do that. Right. You know why? Because if they admit to it, that means they got to pay us.
That's a good point. Let me talking about vets. Let me show a video of a vet.
I come back and applied for the job. They had passed the civil rights bill. The white guy brought me to his plant. I guess was testing to see was I familiar with chemicals. And all of a sudden I started mixing the chemicals and getting it together. And I took the chemicals from that and filled a fire extinguisher with CO2. The white guy told me, I don't hide color for this. Go out front. Sweep the trash up out front. When you get through, take that mop, clean the toilet and mop the toilet out. I was so hurt. Whew. It hurt me down. Whew. It was rough. You tell me I went to serve my country. This is what I get? Not a job to take care of my family? That's what really pushed me to think my own business. And eventually, that's what I ended up with 3 businesses. That's what kept me going. And I'm glad I'm here today where I can relax. I'm pleased and happy today, but I never forgot and never will.
Wow, that's kind of piggyback on what I said. I didn't even know you were going to play that clip.
Yeah, I'm about to cry. I'm about to just drop right here.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. And black veterans, that's why I want to tell that guy who's woofing off all that crap. Black veterans are treated like shit in the past and treated like shit today. So you sit there.
Said, ain't no blacks gonna be in here doing that. They don't believe in us being smart. And they still got that mentality in certain places in the South. You understand? They still feel like this. And it's sad. And it has to stop. It has to stop. It really does.
When he said it still hurts me today, that got to me. When he said it.
Because he told him to go and clean the toilets. Yeah. Look at how they train us in school. They train us not to be entrepreneurs. Remember, they took out all the things to be able to have your own business. They took all of those things out to be able to work with your hands or try to do businesses. They took all of that out. They want you to be mail people. They want you to be the garbage people. You understand? They want you to have these little blue collar jobs. They don't teach us to be entrepreneurs.
So this is a question I always ask, and this is a question I ask my white friends. Like that story that guy told. The white guy that didn't hire him, didn't that white guy go home and tell his family what he did and told his friends what he did? And the reason I'm asking that, because a lot of my white friends would say, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know people were like that. How could you not know? I keep asking, how come you don't know all these horrible things that are being done to this day? All these things. That story is not even unique to that time. That story could be relevant today.
Because it doesn't affect them. They are white.
They did a survey this was in 2021, which is not far removed from 2023, where they sent black women out for companies to be hired to be a receptor, to sit at the front and represent the company. When people show up, they'll be the face, and almost all of the black women were rejected. They put a black name, and but the white women were hired to, So, and that's in 2021. So this stuff is still going on. They don't, So for me, the answer to all of this is for us to just start getting our own shit. And I know we've said that on this show a gazillion times, but that is absolutely the only answer.
Keep saying it. Yeah, get your own.
We get our own shit. We got to stop asking them for just leave them alone. They are who they are. Leave them alone. Just start getting our own shit. But we are so deep. A lot of us are so deep, in it. Like we're
comfortable in our dysfunction, and we don't see nothing else but our white master taking care of us. We don't want nobody else taking care of us but white master. No. I'm sorry, I had to crack a joke to keep from crying.
I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper. I mean, it's kind of like when you're on a roller coaster, Tiffany, and you're going up that hill, you fucked up. Because when you get to the top, you're going to drop. So you're at the point of no return. You can't get off at that point. When you get up that hill to that last click before you go over, you can't get off. You're done. I think as black people in America, we went up that hill and it's too late to get off the train. I don't know how we reverse it. We had a chance to reverse it. And we tried to reverse it, Tiff and Carl. We tried with the Black Wall Street towns and all the other towns that is not as famous as Black Wall Street that all got burnt down because of jealousy. And when all those towns were burnt down, we rebuilt and they were burnt down again. So I don't know, like D.L. Hughley said, not D.L. Hughley, Godfrey said, even when we get our own shit, they're still jealous. They don't want you to have your own shit. They don't want you with them, and they don't want you to have their own shit. It's a no-win situation,
Especially if they're not in control.
Yeah, and like we discussed last week, that Dr. King said, I think I may have sent my people into a burning bush because he fought so hard to get us integrated with these people, into the schools and riding the same buses.
To be treated like a human being.
And be treated like a human being. But then it kind of backfired because you basically forcing people to like you that don't really like you. They don't like us.
They just dealing with you because of money.
Paul Mooney.
They just dealing with us because of money, because we spend money.
Jokes. And we spend a lot of it. One of my favorite Paul Mooney bits, where Paul Mooney says, white people were happy during slavery, but at the slavery end, they're angry. And
very angry.
Because we weren't supposed to get free. He said that. It just resonated with. We
ain't supposed to be free.
We're not supposed to be free. We're not supposed to know how to read or write or have a TV show or a job or a car or a horse or a farm. Anything. We're not supposed to have is a house next door to your house now.
Oh, right.
A better car than the one in your yard, I mean, it's just a reality. It's a harsh reality. We're up that roller coaster and we're like, we can't get down. It's like, we're going over and we're going over with the group of people that hate us because it's too late to reverse this thing. I don't know how we get to what Carl says, and Carl talks about it all the time on the show, getting our own thing. And that's almost, in order to do that, I don't know how we do it, even if we talk about Ice Cube coming up, part of his plan wasn't us having our own shit, I mean, like, for example, that brother is starting his own league, his own basketball league. And he's catching a lot of heat because he's competing with the NBA, And I mean, it's like, they don't want you to do nothing but just put out rap music that talks about drugs and killing, Ice Cube, and you're fine. But once you start trying to become more than a rapper who talked about drugs and guns, and now you're trying to start businesses and legacies and build stuff and start your own NBA, your own basketball league, the Big Three, which he's behind, and do your own thing, and now you're competing with white corporate America, and now they're coming after you. They don't come after you; they will go after him.
They don't want you.
No, he said they are. He said he's on a gatekeeper. Fuck the gatekeeper tour. He said that's what he's doing right now.
They're gonna come after him.
Everybody.
If he has any
got
dirt,
video call.
Yeah, if any dirt, they're gonna try to bring him down, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to bring him down.
Let me read a couple comments. Nicole, hey, what's up, Nicole? Nicole is saying hi. Nicole. Yeah. Kathleen Melrose from YouTube says they still got that same lack of mentality in the Northwest. So in the Northwest, they still got the same mentality where no matter how educated you are, they give you a job that's below your capabilities. Kathleen also says exactly, meaning exactly we need to get our own shit. Doing it is another story. Yeah, I mean, we say it all the time here, but for some reason, I don't know what it is, man. And I always say, what else do we need to see? How much more do we need to see? I mean, what are we now in year? We 400 years now. We're going into
year 450.
Right? I mean, like, what else do we need to see?
And you're saying this is gonna be a black therapy show 200 years from now with another group of 3 people. But our ancestors, Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany, rest in peace. 20 years ago, they started this show, the Black Therapy Show. We're still here bitching about getting our own shit.
I hope not. I hope 200 years from now, it's not 3 different Black Therapy Show people saying,
oh God.
The fact that we have to still have this show in 2023 and things aren't even getting better, things are getting worse. We don't even have to come like we used to. Remember when we started the show, Carl? We used to have meetings like every Tuesday or Wednesday. We get together with the group. And what we're talking about, we're talk about. And there's so much going on back then. But now we don't even have those meetings anymore. America gives us so much ammunition that we talk to each other 24 hours before the show. We got a whole bundle of shit to talk about. We got so much stuff to talk about that we can't even do it all in one show because this country continues to give us so much ammunition with its BS. And today's show, we still got I got like 10 topics we didn't even be able to get to, because of stuff that's happening right now that we didn't even talk about in our pre-meeting because there's just so much stuff going on, and the news cycle is so quick. Like next week, it'd be another police shooting, or next week it'd be another
something else,
something bad that, like I go, oh, we need to talk about this today. We'll talk about it next week. But next week, that's old news because 20 things have happened since then.
I mean, that white dude is acting like it's fine now. There's nothing to complain about. I mean, we should be happy. Like it's over. But like I said, the main thing is America has not acknowledged the past. They have not acknowledged it. They just want to. I had a white friend that literally told me, if black people stop talking about racism, it will go away. She literally said, if you guys would just stop talking about racism, it would just go away. But
we wish we could stop talking about racism. We can't. You know why? Because it's in the blood of America. It's in the housing system. It's in the educational system. It's in the political system. How you want us? It's in the law. It's in everything that we do. We breathe. Everything. You want us to forget about it? Come on, we wish we can forget about it. We can wish that our sons can't look behind their back all the time, or the cops is going to hurt them or kill them.
You know why we can't forget about racism, Carl? Because like a couple of years ago, we refinanced the home, we refinanced the house.
Yeah.
And we were told that we had to take our pictures down. I remember that. Yeah. So I had to remove pictures. I have pictures of you guys over here. I have pictures of my mom, my daughter, Patricia. I got pictures of my family all over my office right here.
Yeah.
I had to take them all down. I had pictures on my wall a famous, a black artist, I'd take them all down off the wall. We had to make the house look like black people did not live here.
You had
That's
to.
horrible.
Your friend, your white friend, would
Yeah.
never have to do that in his life. If he lived to be 200 years old,
Okay.
he would never have to do that.
Was
That's
it a
why.
yeah.
That's why racism. That's why we can't stop talking about racism, because it exists on so many different levels every freaking day in this country. Even
Every
Carl, you say,
freaking day.
when you get in your car and you start your car off and you pull out your driveway every morning, I guarantee you, in the back of your mind, you're going, I hope I don't get pulled over by a cop today.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's the same with me. If I leave out this house to go to the store to get a freaking gallon of ice cream, I don't care what it is. It's this. I start with
The
that car when I
same
pull out that
feeling.
driveway. In the back of my mind, I go, geez, I was gonna get home about getting pulled over by a cop, and more importantly, getting shot.
Right? You're on
White
the
people have
highway.
to deal with that.
Yeah, you're on the highway. There's a cop sitting on the side of the road. He's checking for speeders and stuff. Even though you're not speeding, you drive by. You keep checking your rear view mirror. I check my rear view mirror like constantly.
Yes.
Because I know. I swear to God, I might be, and this might sound crazy, but I really think they have some kind of binoculars or some kind of high powered. I swear to God that, because when I see someone pull over on the highway, I always check to see if they're black. And 95 to close to 90% of the time, it's a black person.
I do the same thing, man. I do the same thing. That's what I'm saying. The shoes that we walk in, white people don't walk in those shoes. They would never understand Gil Scott's pain. That song, what was intriguing about the song was not even to the lyrics to me. It was the pain in her voice. It wasn't fake pain.
No.
That was real pain that you saw on her face. Because I don't know what she has in her bank account, but let's give her the benefit of the doubt that she's got a couple of $1 million laying around because she sold so many records and done some tours, okay? First of all, you don't know that she's a millionaire, smart-ass white boy. You don't know what she got in her bank account. Just because you got a hit record don't mean you got $1 million in your bank account. You know what I'm saying? People think I'm rich because I've been on television, but I ain't rich. People think I'm rich because I've been on TV. Okay, when you're on TV,
People
you're
think
rich.
I'm rich. I don't even got a goddamn car.
That's what I'm saying. People always think you rich. So ain't no guarantee that Gil Scott is a millionaire. But if she is, that doesn't mean what type of house she lives in, or what type of car she drives, or what she has in her bank account doesn't stop her from having pain from being a black person in this country, or even more important, pain of just what goes on in the world every day.
Just period. In general, the world
and it doesn't stop her from
hard.
It doesn't stop her from having to deal with racism. I mean,
And
I remember
she has a black son. She has a son.
Ray Leonard, who grew up. We grew up in the same neighborhood. Sugar Ray Leonard, boxing champion. I remember when he first made his millions, he moved to a place called Potomac, Maryland, which is a upscale neighborhood in the state of Maryland, and he dealt with a lot of racism. He was probably one of the few brothers that had a house in that neighborhood for starters back in the 80s. He made these millions, left Palmer Park, Maryland, bought a mansion in Potomac, Maryland, but he dealt with a lot of racism up there because he's the first black man, that had a house in that neighborhood. And he got, they came on him for having parties at his house. He wasn't allowed to have parties at his house or his friends over. So he dealt with a lot of stuff.
Probably had a whole tenant meeting on his ass.
Will Smith did the same thing. I remember he told a story about, being pulled over by a cop and just because you rich don't mean you don't deal with racism. Rich black people deal with racism all the time.
I mean, okay, just because you have money, you're not supposed to care about rape, murder, you know what I mean? None of that stuff that's going on.
You don't see George Floyd being choked to death because you got $1 million in your pocket, in your bank account. George Floyd being choked or killed on national television is not supposed to affect you.
So, listen, if it didn't affect you, something is wrong with them. Because you have people that's the mentality. Too.
LeBron James is rich. Why is he bitching about racism? That's what we hear that all the time.
Too.
Yeah, he got $1 billion. What are you worried about?
Listen, people are ignorant and mostly on social media.
All right, let me show a couple of Ice Cube videos.
But you said it's being done to divide us. Okay, by who? Who's doing it?
Well, who benefits and profits off our bickering and our division? You know, it's like follow the money. I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, okay, you know, this is an industry. Okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So
literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. So, you know, it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. You know, some records are made by committee. Meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. We're gonna have that. So the narrative is really kind of, you know, structured and really made into what the record company want the record to be, and what the, you know, a lot of artists are frustrated with this kind of music making. You know, a lot of people, you know, feel like they're being controlled by the label. This is how they do it. Telling you what songs to sing, what hooks to do, what songs, you know, you can do your song. That's fine. That's an album cut. But the single is what we all say is the single. So you have, you know, the record company pushing the narrative, you know, and you know, so this to me is in somewhat, you know, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full. Now, there's a lot of dots to connect to make that happen. But I'm just giving you a broad example of how people at the top can manipulate what's going on with the people who are bickering and fighting.
Wow.
All right. So, I mean, I think that interview was like an hour and something long, but I couldn't find clips to, you know, I didn't find a whole lot of clips. But basically, Kevin, I think you watched the entire hour and something.
Yes, I did.
What basically is Ice Cube? What's his plan for Black America? What's he planning for us? And should we follow him?
It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. That's a loaded question. I did watch the whole interview, and even watching the whole interview, I went back to rewind it. I'm answering your question. I went back to rewind it to the part where he talked about the music industry and owning the prisons, because from what I understand, we've heard that before from a guest on our show by the name of Professor Griff, right?
Yeah.
He said the same thing. And he got called. He got called all sorts of names on our show, unfortunately, for telling the truth. But yeah, now Ice Cube saying the same thing. You know, a much bigger star than Professor Griff, but here he's bringing the same heat, you know. And unfortunately, I guess he's at the point where he doesn't give a rat's ass anymore. But yeah, he's gonna pay the price for that, you know. I mean, because you know, once you go against the grain, you know what happens. You know, you're basically outcast, and he's okay with that because he got the money to feed him and his family the rest of his days, most likely. So he doesn't care. He put a plan out for Black America, and a lot of it is.
I got it.
You got it. You got the plan right there.
Yeah, I sent it to you too in
Okay, because
Messenger.
yeah, I didn't get yours. I had my own. I'm sorry, I didn't miss your messenger, but I did have mine here on my phone. So let me go to let me pull it up real quickly. So yeah, you want to read some of it, Tiff? If you get, while I look for mine like an idiot, I screenshot it earlier. So some of it, yeah, it's hold on, let me find it. I'm sorry, guys. My apologies. Live radio.
I think it's on Yahoo. I think it's YUMPU.com.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. So
and quickly what he said about, at first I was against the call and Tiff, like I said on the show a few weeks ago, last week. But then when I started listening to Ice Cube, I'm totally 100% with the brother. So I apologize. But yeah, what he's saying is so deep and so true about who's benefiting from dividing us. You know, like we're so divided. But follow the money. I mean, people are making money off of racism. They're making money off of division. They're making money off of Black bodies. They're making money. Everybody's getting paid on our backs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not just the Republicans; it's the Democrats too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's coming from me.
Right.
On this show, y'all know I push for the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm not in bed with the Democrats. I just picked the lesser of the two evils. But what Ice Cube said made me think really hard, you know. And it's both sides, you know, that are basically eating on our backs, man, you know.
And they've been eating off our backs for years.
Yes, ma'am. Did you pull that up?
They've been eating off our backs, but he, you know, a lot of what he was talking about was dealing with, because I heard one entertainer, an actress. So where is the woman's clause? I'm thinking that regardless to what, we are Black Americans, and he's not talking about a man or a woman. He's just talking about us as Black people and what should be owed to us. And one of them even came up. He talked about the entertainment industry reform and reparations, you know, giving back to the artists, you know, giving back their monies for their work, for their music, you know, paying us back for how many people had to get their life sacrificed because of the music that they put out. You understand? So that was that little bit that you got from him talking about with the music industry and things like that. He talked about the lynching becoming a federal hate crime. Monuments need to be eliminated or Confederate. Overly racist statue, rather than be destroyed, go put them in like a museum, a Smithsonian Institute. Like he's talking about the banking system. Wait a minute, I think he said something with.
That's what I wanted to bring up. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tiff.
Yeah, he's just talking about all these different things that will benefit us as Black people, giving back what was taken from us or what was stolen from us or how much we earned and didn't get paid for it. Go ahead, Cav, because I'm going through it too. I had to print it out and everything.
The reason I think it's going to be kind of hard to get all Black people on board, because it's like they dangle like they'll dangle $1 million in front of an artist, right, to sing lyrics or to do whatever, to act this part, play this part in the movie or whatever. And how do you as a person who came from nothing refuse $1 million?
And that's why they choose them.
Right.
That's just like prostitution. That they try to find the lowest self-esteem woman. They find the lowest self-esteem man or girl that will do anything, you understand, because they don't have anything. So they'll give them money and say, listen, I don't care. I'll do that as long as I don't be broke no more. That's how you sell yourself. People sell yourself to the devil.
So one
That's
thing he
the
talked
true
about,
meaning of it.
Yeah, one of the things he talked about, Tiff, was like loans and stuff like that to Black people, and putting money into some of the poor neighborhoods also, you know, like
yes, man,
building from the bottom up, you know what I mean? Like You got to improve these bad neighborhoods. You can't have these neighborhoods, you know, with, you know, when I was a kid, my mom, me and my brother and I took karate lessons, and we took them for free. It was at the school down the street from my house, and my brother dropped out, and I stayed to martial arts for years. But the thing was all those lessons were free. We just go play basketball for free.
Those is programs that
Everything
they
was free.
cut.
Yeah, those programs had, yeah. So all these programs were cut. And that's why, by the way, I ride the Republicans, because most of these programs were cut under Reagan. You know, under Reagan, the Republican president cut most of these programs. So the kids had no school, no after school programs to go
Yeah.
to, so they could play basketball or learn hobbies or
Carpentry, home
carpentry,
economics,
home
all
economics.
of
Remember
that.
that? All that
Yes.
stuff, you know, cooking class, all this stuff was free. And was taught in schools, actually, home economics. You know, you learn a lot of things in there about cooking and sewing, all the things, little things you will end up needing in life somewhere down the road.
And they took it right out.
And they kill all these programs. When you kill all these programs, Colin Tiff, what happened? Now you got the kids in the streets because they got no karate class to go to. So now
Which
you got
was
no
planned. They
yeah, you
wanted
got
us
no
in the
boxing.
street.
Got no boxing gym, no karate class. It was planned. Now, all these programs taken out, these kids are in the streets. With these kids in the street, what happens? You know what happens? They end up selling drugs, they end up stealing cars, they end up in prison system. Like as you said, the prison system is designed for your kids. They build these
Yes, he
prisons.
talked
They build
about
these
that
prisons.
too.
They build these prisons, and now they got to fill the beds up because the prisons are privatized.
Yes, that's what he also expressed. He expressed ban all privately run prisons.
Yes, they need
Fine
to be.
established to be paid by companies who profited off of the private prison system. Yeah,
Yeah.
he talks about that too.
Yeah, and that's the big thing in America right now is the prison system. They're building all these elaborate prisons. The prison that Bill Cosby was in, when he went there, it was a new prison. They had just put that prison up, and it was millions of dollars to build that thing, and they had to fill it up. They didn't build that big Pennsylvania prison and go, hey, we're gonna put Bobby and Joe and you know, in there. We're gonna fill it up with Tyrones, you know.
Becky Sue and Billy Joe ain't going in that prison.
No, it wasn't built
No,
for
they
them.
don't. They go into different prisons.
So now they
And
built, so they passed laws. I'm saying they passed laws to make it easy for, you know, people in your neighborhood to end up in those prison systems. So a lot of stuff he's talking about was getting rid of programs like that, getting rid of stop the privatizing prisons. I talk a lot about banks, you know, and like I say, loans and stuff like that. For
he talked about the loans and how they need to hold on. I'll say massive bank lending and finance reform. He said, and although Black population is roughly 13.4% of the nation, approximately only 3% of loans and credit is given to Black people.
So
only 3%.
So they
for
passed
home or mortgages.
So they passed. Look how quick they gave us Juneteenth, for example.
Hey, let me
Juneteenth.
shout out Information Man. Just checked and just want to say what's up.
Hi,
brother.
Information Man.
What's up, Information Man?
Yeah.
Long time here, brother.
We haven't heard you in a while, man. But I know now our show. I think his show is on on Sundays, but I think a little before ours. But maybe there's some some overlap with our shows. But thanks for checking in, brother. Hope you're doing well with your show, brother. I check it out once in a while. Thanks for checking in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just there with him. Hey.
Go ahead, Kev. You were saying
I'm saying, look how quick they gave us this Juneteenth. They turned Juneteenth into a national holiday to celebrate.
Federal holiday.
Federal day, yeah. So, but look how quick that took them to do that. Now, they still were fighting for the George Floyd Police Reform Act, you know, stuff that affects us deeply, like police shooting the shit out of us. They can't pass laws on that.
The lynching bill.
But the lynching bill, all this stuff, but they can all get together and sign on the dotted line for a holiday. You know, it just shows you that they're playing with us, and they're taking our vote for granted, and they're playing with us right now, both sides. You know,
It's been long enough in my opinion. I mean, and I'm serious when I say it's 400 years information. What's up, brother?
Yeah, how you doing? How's everybody been?
We're good.
hey, what's up, man? It's been great, man.
Hey, how you doing? Good to have you. Get to see you all live.
Yes.
What is your Ice Cube? Boy.
You're not an Ice Cube fan?
No. No, I am an Ice Cube fan, but this is my question, because I did a podcast about this, and I did find it fascinating that he wants to reveal who the gatekeepers are. But this is my problem. It's the same thing that Byron Allen did. I wonder, is Ice Cube making a fuss simply because his economic bottom line is being affected by his business with the big three, that because things are not working out for him as an individual businessman, with the NBA, as he says, is interfering with his lead? But however, the NBA, do you know that the NBA controls the likeness and some of the names of those ex-players? So if the NBA really wanted to crush the big three, they could simply say, you can't use their likeness. You can't show any pictures of them in previous uniforms that were NBA uniforms, things of that nature. So people don't realize that. So if they really wanted to crush him, they could have crushed this lead a long time ago. I'm not saying that they're not messing with Ice Cube, that he's lying, but I just wonder if Ice Cube is trying to galvanize all of us to rally around supporting him, when it's really a concern that he has for his personal business. Because my question is this: when you say the gatekeepers and you're going to go on a tour on podcast, why can't you just simply tell us what the situation is in terms of who are these gatekeepers? Even though he says, well, come on now, y'all know who they are. Well, wait a minute. You know something. You know the names of these people directly. You wouldn't reveal that to the everyday public, that you just said, hey, I'm not in that club and you're not in that club. Okay, well, tell us exactly who these people are that are hiding behind the sheets like the Wizard of Oz. So on the one hand, I appreciate him coming out with the contract for Black America, and we know that the Democrats sort of didn't work with him. And then there was this whole misinformation that he was somehow being catered by Trump. That's not true. He said out of his own mouth that he never met Trump in his life.
Right.
It was Trump's handlers. It was Trump's people that did talk to him about that contract with Black America. But of course, we know that the Republicans didn't get in. The Democrats won the election. They got in. And since that time, we haven't heard of Biden or anybody saying that they want to work with his plan. That at that point right there, I agree with him that that's problematic. But I just wonder if this is all about Ice Cube's agenda and we're just going to be pawns in that agenda, because that's the same thing that Byron Allen did when he jumped on board about not getting the marketing that he needed for his businesses and all this sort of stuff. And then he used a law from the 1800s that was written in for Black people. He galvanized Tone Talks and all these people and people that were part of the whole ADOS movement. Yet he never said that he was ADOS. And he won his, I think he lost one of his cases, won, and then we don't hear from him anymore. I'm not saying that Ice Cube's going to do that, but do you get my premise where I'm coming from here?
Yeah, if Ice Cube was making big bucks and everything was going great, he wouldn't even be on our radar. He wouldn't.
Thank you. He would never have said, hey, I got these gatekeepers that's stopping me. I think he said himself, he said that the mainstream media is not working with us, but yet he has some media deals. He does have media deals.
I think he just received $100 million, you know, from the NFL. You know, for the contract with Black America. Even if he is out trying to do something for himself, we really don't see him like that, you know, doing this. So when he did come out, I was very proud of him as an entertainer, talking about, you know, things that need to be dealt with for Black America when nobody else. Now, when he said he's going on a tour, I don't think he was going on a tour to tell, oh, this is the gatekeeper, this is the gatekeeper. He said he's going on the gatekeeper tour to be able to talk about more about what he's trying to do, because they're trying to stop him from doing what he is trying to do.
Right.
So,
well, I know he was on the Joe Rogan, and he did spend, I got to be honest, he did spend more time on Joe Rogan, pretty much focusing on what's happening to the big three. Because the big three, and then I think he was honest when he said that ever since he came out with that contract, that he's been kind of getting shunned in Hollywood. Yeah, I do believe that to be true. Yeah. But then you got to ask yourself this, when have, not to minimize Ice Cube, but when have Black people who think for themselves have not been shunned by Hollywood or anything in our society? It comes, and you know what's weird about this? When Ice Cube was a part of the NWA and they were spousing off a lot of that music, some of it that I didn't agree with, you notice he didn't get any pushback from Hollywood, but now that he's become more conscious in his thinking, he's getting pushback. Isn't that interesting? But long as he says F the police and, you know, stick them up, then that's okay.
Well, he talked about the music industry and what they wanted them to push. But to be honest, again, when he came out with the fuck the police during that time, that was stuff that we never heard before. We never heard that. It was like it was different, and we needed that, especially during the time that they was kicking ass. I think that was during the time Rodney King was he got his ass kicked.
Wow.
So I mean, let me tell you something. I never had anything negative from Ice Cube. Like I said, I like that he came out and he's standing up. You never hear anything negative about his family life. He has children life. You understand? He's always been true to who he is. Now, if he is doing this just to big up his so be it. But if it's giving us the conversation to talk about things that need to be dealt with Black America, so be it. We need to talk about it because we are still suffering in silence.
I agree with that.
What exactly does Ice Cube want us to do as Black people? He wants us
to read the contract. Read the contract. You know.
But this
I like the contract. A lot of this stuff needs to be done.
It's in our chat. It's in our chat. Check it out. It's in our chat, man. So.
Yeah, I actually did a show when I went over the contract. It's a lot of great stuff in there. This is my problem, and I want someone to touch this, if you may, if you would be willing. My problem, I have a little bit of a problem with the Democratic administration. Because Ice Cube said out of his own mouth that when he presented it to them, they said, well, wait a minute, because we got to win the election. And when we win the election, we can come back and work with you. Then he went over to the Trump people and they said that they liked what he had. And then, of course, people demonized him and started making memes out of him with the mega hat when he never even said he was mega. Right. And I didn't really like what Black people did to him like that. And it's always our own people that dump on us like this. But this is my thing. We have to call out the Biden administration for not wanting to at least sit down with Cube and say, hey, let's look at that plan, see how we can implement it. The man's been in office for 3 years. I mean, this is the last term. And he hasn't had a sit down with Ice Cube to at least say, let's look at the plan and see what we can implement. Yet he said that he was going to be the president for Black folks and social justice and all this other different stuff. And I'm sorry, I got to say this. I don't think Kamala Harris being vice president as a Black woman, however we want to define her, I don't see how it's really benefited Black people. And most importantly, I don't see how it's benefited. I don't see how it's benefited you as a black woman, because it was black women who told Joe Biden, put a black woman in there. And what has she done? What tangible have black women in specifically gotten out of this administration? And don't get me wrong. By no means do I want a Trump or any of these DeSantis. I don't want any of these clowns.
I don't want them either.
But at the same time, we as black people in America, we got to stop allowing ourselves to be taken for granted, and we got to start calling them out. And we got to start really where we should put our foot to fire is in the Black Caucus, like the Clyburns of the world, because they're the ones that co-sign this nonsense. And I just wonder how often do we call them up on the phone? I've got the 5 Calls app where you can, contact and give your complaints and all that stuff. But how often do we hold these black politicians to the fire when they're the ones that co-sign the man?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll stop right there.
No, you did very well. Go ahead, y'all. Y'all ready? Because
Kevin, you want to take the Democrat part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the brother, man. I mean, you make a lot of sense, information, man, what you said. And I'm the guy on this show that go to bat for the Democrats all the time. So I do agree with you 100% what you just said. But I will say we should maybe do a little bit more homework too. I mean, we don't know. Here's the deal. Kamala Harris is the vice president, right? So we're going to hold her to the same as we do all the other vice presidents of the United States of America. Forget her skin color. She's a vice president of the United States of America. So my question is, what vice president in the history of this country, especially modern history, we can name did anything for anybody, white or black?
Cat, stop. You know they put her. Stop it. You know they put her in there because they felt like she was colored.
No, I'm gonna say this again. Listen to me carefully, sister. What vice president in the history of this country has a track record? That's all I want to ask. If anybody can answer that, then let me know. Because a vice president has no track record. Not Pence, not Joe Biden, for a matter of fact, when he was vice president, has no track record or anything he did when he was vice president. Vice presidents are not there to pass legislation. They're not there for any of the things that we want Kamala Harris to do. She's not there to do any of that because she don't have the power to do any of that stuff. She's a vice president.
This is where
why did we vote for her for? We voted for her because she was the black woman. They said she's black. We should vote for her.
Here's another thing. We didn't vote for her. We voted for
Biden because everybody voted because they wanted to. I'm sorry.
What it was.
If Biden had a white vice president, most people who call themselves Democrat would have went and still voted Democrat for for Biden to be president, no matter who the vice. Yeah, we're excited about. Look, I voted for white. I went into the booth and pulled the lever for white presidents because before Obama became president, I had to vote for a white president, right? Because there was no black president to vote for. So I voted for a white president. Same thing. So my point is that I didn't vote for Biden because Kamala Harris, because I'd have voted for Biden even if he had a white person as his vice president, because
you didn't want Trump.
I'm not voting for Trump.
Let me ask you, doesn't the vice president have any kind of influence over the president? Can she get in his ear and say, Mr. President, you in this office because a lot of black women voted for you, a lot of black people voted for you. We got to do something for them. Just get in his ear and stay in his ear.
And how do we know that she has it? That's my point. We don't know
didn't
that.
Put no money.
We don't know that she hasn't done that.
Right, but then
78-year-old old white man, right?
Right.
So we don't know that she hasn't.
Well, then that would work against your point, brother, because the fact of the matter is that a vice president doesn't have the power to create laws. It's really, this is the thing we have to realize. It's really Congress,
right,
that creates the laws. the president is a figurehead who sets the agenda, right? And tries to carry it out through the Congress. So really, that's why when we lost the Congress to the Republicans, that was bad to lose the Congress to them, because now you can't get nothing done. But I would say this. Kamala Harris knows that black people got excited about her becoming vice president, and definitely black women who voted at 93% in that election, black men at 83%. And the fact of the matter is, you can't tell me that she doesn't have the president's ear more than any of us, where she can't say to Biden, we need to do A, B, and C. Because you know why? When they got elected, what did she say? We're going to do something for the immigrants. She said that out of her own mouth. You've never heard her say, we're going to do something for black people. We do know she said, no, I'm not going to just do something just for black people only, but they have no problem telling you and me they're going to do something for immigrants. Now, the reason why I make this point is because what they do to black people, no matter where you come from in the world when you live in this country, what they do to us is that they use these political words like people of color and marginalized people. When you ask them a straight up question, what they're going to do for our community, I don't care if you're a black immigrant or born here. When a black person asks that question, they simply say, well, what we want to do for marginalized people and for people of color, they want to put you in this big old giant bag called people of color candy. So that they don't have to directly tell black people wherever we come from in the world what they directly going to do for us. They never identify us as a group. Now, when it comes to the LGBTQ, respectfully, you don't hear them dance around that question and say, well, what we're going to do for marginalized. They say the LGBTQ community needs this. The LGBT community needs that. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. So let me ask you a
it's-
question, information, man. Still got your ear, brother. I'm glad you joined us today. So you're voting for Trump?
Brother, I'm not going to be that foolish to vote for Trump, because I know
so,
if we
so
get...
you're voting for Tim Scott because he's black.
No. I'll tell you this. I don't.
You're not
I'm
voting
not.
for Tim Scott?
No,
Okay.
I'm not going to vote for Tim Scott. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'll be honest with you on this on here. More than likely, I'm going to vote for the Democratic Party, and this is the reason why. Because as much as I don't like the things that they haven't done and some things that they have done, I don't want to see Trump get his hands on this country again and create more destruction in the long run. So So even though what I'm basically saying is, when are we? I hate using that word we. This is what I'm going to do. What I have to do is I got to stay in the asses of my elected officials, statewide and local. Matter of fact, local government is more important than national government because all government is local, right? So, you know, a lot of times we, as black people, we get on panels and we talk about all this we stuff. No, we should talk about what we gonna do, what I gonna do. So it's my job to pick up the phone and call my congressman, to call Black Caucus members and say, this is what I'm not happy about. And then it's my job to rally other black people that think like me to do the same, to create a coalition, to stay on their asses, right? So I got to start first as an individual and influence other people and use my platform to influence people, because I know that Trump is a disaster. He's a criminal. We literally had a criminal in the White House, even though there's been other criminals as well.
It's just like he was just an outspoken criminal.
Right. So don't get me wrong. I'm not, you know what I could say? I wish that we had more choices. In the elective system, you notice they never have none of the above. They don't have a system where when they give us 4 candidates, for example, and we say none of the above or 4, why don't they give people the none of above so that we can say we don't want any of those candidates, get us more candidates?
Right.
That would be a real system, but they will never do that because they would mess up the apple cart, right? But I just wish that we had that power to say, nah, because what happens, and Dick Gregory said this, we have the power to vote, but we don't select the president. Someone else selects them. We just vote for them. And I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's deep, and definitely with the Ice Cube thing, and I like that in his contract. You see, he says black America. And you have to be specific. We talking about us. And that's another thing with the political system. We need to talk more to, like you said, our officials, and tell them what we need and what we want. And yes, Ice Cube, and this is what I'm thinking with business, if I'm right or wrong. When you're doing a business or you trying to come up with a plan, you have to talk to both parties, don't you? You have to balance it out. And he tried to talk to both parties, and one blew him off, and then the other one tried. You understand what I mean? Tried to have his people talk.
Remember, black people.
Here's what the problem was with that, though, in my opinion, my humble opinion, was when Ice Cube talked to Trump, a lot of people felt that he was being used by Trump, and he's too smart to be used by Trump. Like Trump only talked to Ice Cube because Trump wanted to get black votes. Like
but he didn't talk to him. His people talked to him.
He's not genuine. He's not talking to Ice Cube because he's genuine in his heart. He's using Ice Cube. Say, okay, if I bring Ice Cube into my camp, I'm gonna get some black votes.
Right.
And so people feel like, well, Ice Cube, why are you letting Trump use you like that? I think that's where some people were pissed off about that whole thing. That just some of the stuff I heard.
I feel you with that, but I don't think that was on his head. He was just wanting to talk to both parties to find out what can you do for Black America since you running for president. And it shouldn't be wrong. It shouldn't be nothing wrong with him trying to talk to both parties.
Well,
and then
there's something else. There's something else that I heard people say about that was, how come he didn't come with the black thing, the plan for Black America during the
Obama administration?
No, the run up to the president. What do you call that when they're running for the president? Before they pick the president, everybody's running.
Yeah, I heard that too. They said he
because there were people who were who were good candidates who could have used that that didn't make it. Biden got picked, but there were people in the race that were probably good candidates. What's the brother? Can't think of his name right now on the top of my head. The Spanish dude. What's his name? Can't think of his name right now.
Santos? Is you talking about Santos?
No, not him. The Democrat one. Information man.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name. He's a young. I know you are. He was a Democrat. Yeah, he did have some good stuff.
Good stuff, man. But he needed that push, though. And Ice Cube could have given that lift or that push. They're saying there were people in the race that were young and had good ideas that got the Democratic machine pushed to the back for Biden, because they felt like the only person that can beat this racist ass white man was another old ass white man. That's basically how
racist white man.
That's how America felt. Like the only way you could beat Trump is bringing in another old white man. There's no way other than that,
Right.
So they didn't feel that a black or Hispanic or anybody of that nature can beat Trump, so.
Right. Let me ask this question. Do you think that black people politically, one, I think we need a political education. There's a lot of our people that are not very astute to how politics works, but we need to be balanced politically because remember, there was a time in this country when most black people were Republicans, mainly because Republicans catered to black people to get their votes again. But the Democrats, as we know, were the Dixiecrats, and they were the party that did a lot of destruction to us. And then, of course, they jumped from the Democratic Party, from the Dixiecrats over to the Republican Party, which is why the Republican Party is the way it is. But I think it's important for us to have black people who are Republicans as well as Democrats. But this is the thing. I have met black Democrats, but a lot of the black Democrats that they present on TV are the ones that talk bad about us. There are black Democrats that are just as down with the black agenda, but they just come at it from a conservative point of view. But what they normally do, the liberal media works. You'll never see them find Republicans like a Robert Johnson, who's a billionaire, who is willing to give to the black community or to youth, young black men, and he did at Morehouse, paying their tuition, paying off their debt, right? They won't highlight black Republicans who have reasonable ideas and reasonable philosophy. They focus on the elders of, what's that guy, Elder, who ran for governor of California. They focus on the Armstrong Williams. They focus on the Candace Owens, people who talk about us like a dog, right? And what happens is it actually hurts the Republican Party because they're using black people who hate being black and they hate us, but yet we never hear from the Republicans who are black, but are not into this crazy cynical type stuff. They're just really into like, hey, what black people need is economics, like Booker T. Washington economics, and I believe in investing in our youth. That type of black Republican. They are out there because in my fraternity, I've got a lot of brothers in my fraternity who are black Republicans, and that's how they think. They don't spend a lot of time talking about the black community ain't no good. Y'all just ghetto. They're like, look, man, it's about us getting involved in business and investment. So what do you want to do? There are some Republicans black Republicans like that, but nobody knows who they are because they don't highlight them, just the ones that talk crap about us.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, bro. Let me ask you a question, information man, because I brought this to Carl Yard's attention today. I think I called Carl up and I said, who are the new leaders? I mean, how do we get new, like, is it time for, I just thought names like Eric Dyson or Al Sharpton or.
It's time for them.
It's time for them to step down is what I'm saying.
This is what I think they should do.
New young blood.
Yeah.
Cornel West, these guys.
Yeah. What I think they should do, because there's some people who don't like the whole idea of passing the torch. What they should do is light the torch of the next generation. But this is a problem for black men, not black women. This is what the problem is. Because we historically haven't had a lot of power in this white man's world, when a black man gets his hands on power, we hold on to power until we're damn near a skeleton. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. It happens in the continent of Africa where you have African leaders that have been in leadership till they're 100 years old. And then when they do pass away, now the country is in chaos because he hasn't groomed anybody. I ask yourself this. I guarantee you, maybe I can't say guarantee, but I bet you Al Sharpton hasn't groomed anybody to take over his spot when he's gone. I bet you when he passes away, everybody will say, right. But what I'm saying is, you're right. What we're making a mistake as men.
And even Joe Madison, who says all the time on his show, he's not passing the torch.
Yeah, he's going to light the torch. Right. Yeah. But check this out. And I love Joe Madison. I listen to him every morning. But this is my problem with Joe Madison. I ponder this. I wonder, who is Joe Madison? Who has he mentored and has under his wing to take over in his untimely passing from the Black Eagle show? Who's the young Black Eagle he's got behind him ready to go? Huh?
Yeah, I listen to him every morning too.
I listen to him every morning.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I just wonder. I think this is a problem that black men have. This is a problem that we have. We like to be Jesse Jackson, all of them. They all hold on to power. And then when they leave, you don't see any young sisters, young brothers who they can say, when I pass away, such and such is taking over the reins. You see?
Because Dr. King actually had people underneath of him that he groomed. That's where we got the Jesse Jacksons of the world from, right? And the congressman that passed away a few years ago.
Right. Well, I don't know if I just want to say this real quick. I don't know. There's been this misnomer that Dr. King sort of groomed Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson looked up to him. He lied on the day that the man was murdered and claimed that he had him in his arms. Matter of fact, I have this on very good information that Dr. King, I listened to some old timers talk about this that were in the movement, that Dr. King, one of the problems he had with Jesse Jackson is that he ran his mouth too much. He ran his mouth a little bit too much. And this is going to sound conspiratorial. There are people who are questioning, how did Jesse Jackson all of a sudden come to this conclusion that he's the man that picked him up and that somehow he mysteriously got flown or got out of Memphis mysteriously. And then ask yourself, why is it that certain prominent leaders like Dr. King are assassinated, but all the people in his inner circle were never assassinated, and they went on to make money, to work on boards, make money? I know I'm speculating here, but I find it very interesting that they would let him go out there on that balcony when he wasn't even supposed to be at the Moraine Hotel. He was supposed to be at a black-owned establishment, and for some reason, he couldn't get in there. I've always thought, I know it's conspiratorial, I always felt that his inner, I always felt that somebody in that inner circle, I know it sounds like blasphemy, someone in that inner circle, I think, might have sold Dr. King out. And we have a history of this happening.
Well, I believe that. I definitely 100% believe that there was somebody in the inner circle that sold him out, that helped with the assassination. And even Dick Gregory touched on that also.
He sure did.
But to answer your other question, how come nobody else was assassinated? Is lack of power. The only person that had the gift of gab, the charisma, and the power, other than Dr. King, that was Malcolm, and he was assassinated. And the only other person that even come close to that is the minister. And no reason he wasn't assassinated because he's a Muslim and he doesn't have that many followers. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have, because he's the Muslim faith that he's under, he doesn't have the power that he would have if he was a Baptist preacher, or should I say one of us? You know,
you talking about Minister? You talking about Farrakhan and
yeah, I'm talking about Farrakhan.
They
Farrakhan.
got the FOIs. Nobody messing around with them. Them fruits of Islam. Don't cut that ass.
Everybody can be gotten. You know what I'm saying? They got
right,
they got Kennedy. They got Kennedy. They got the Kennedy brother. He could be gotten. Trust me. The reason they haven't gotten him is the same reason Dick Gregory said on a podcast one time. The reason they haven't killed me yet, because everybody thinks I'm crazy. If people actually believed what I was saying, they would kill me. Because they think I'm a conspiracy theorist, they think I'm a nuthead, they won't kill me. But if people start believing what Dick Gregory was saying, they would kill him. And that's
but
the same
a lot
thing.
of stuff that Dick Gregory said was the truth. A lot of stuff came to pass.
But if you ever read the comments on YouTube on a Dick Gregory video, and you scroll down and read the comments, people think he was a crazy old man who's just blabbing off at the mouth. They read the comments all the time, and they don't believe him. And he said, the moment y'all start believing anything I said, I'm a dead man. So, and my point is Farrakhan is always safe from assassination because he was a Muslim and he never really moved the needle as far as being a danger to the industry. I mean, not the industry, you know, to the powers that be. Once you're a threat, you got to go. King was a threat. Malcolm was about to become a threat because he was, you know, he's about to become a threat, a real threat.
And that's why we don't have.
He had to go.
And that's why we don't have leaders today. Is because a lot of them, they don't want to be assassinated. I could be a leader. You can be a leader. Any of us can be a leader and go out there and fight. But a lot of us don't want to be assassinated because you know they're going to kill our ass.
Yeah, nobody wants to be shot. You know, it's hard for Al Sharpton. You know, that dude living large, man. He got a couple $1 million in the bank, living in a nice house somewhere in New York City probably, and got a chauffeur car every morning going there, do his TV show. I mean, he gonna talk some trash, but he ain't gonna move the needle too much to the point where he gonna catch a bullet walking out his apartment or his house one of these days. You know, that's all I'm saying. These guys, the Jesse Jacksons of the world and the Al Sharptons of the world and all these guys, they know there's levels to this. And none of them were willing to go to Dr. King's level.
Oh,
Dr.
yeah,
King,
they're not.
Dr. King knew he was going to die before he died. Malcolm knew he was going to die before he died, you know.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali was an athlete, and that's the only reason he wasn't killed. He was an athlete because if he was a politician, he'd been too powerful. He'd have been killed.
Oh, yeah, he would have had to go, too.
Ali would have had to go. If he was a politician instead of a boxer talking the way he was talking, they'd have took him out. Because he was an athlete, you know, they're like, okay, he ain't got that much power. He's an athlete, but he was a politician. Woo! Ali.
I got a question for information, man. You mentioned something earlier, like you said when they want to help the LGBTQ community, they say it out loud. We're going to help the LGBTQ. We're going to help the Ukrainians. We're going to help the Japanese. We're going to help the Chinese. We're going to help. But when it comes to saying we're going to help Black people, everybody always, they're him and they're hawing. They don't want to say. They don't want to say it out. Even Black people don't want to say, we're going to help Black people. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think we've been stigmatized to underestimate. You know what I'm about to say, brother. You hear it on Joe Madison show all the time. We've been culturally conditioned to underestimate, undervalue, and marginalize Black people. Yep. And Black people do it to themselves. We have a lot of self-esteem issues. There is some internal self-hate where we hate one another and we hate ourselves. And I think that when you have Black politicians who are afraid to, because the Black politicians, you hear them using that phrase more than anybody, the people of color and the marginalized people, they are afraid about how it's going to look to the people that support them, which would be your white constituents and things of that nature. So they don't want to look like they're this super pro-Black politician or super pro-Black person by getting this stigma that, oh, you're only for Black people. So they hide in these words called marginalized and underclass people, which means I'm for all people and you can't put me in this box of just being for Black people only. I think there is some internal hate, displeasure, and disrespect that American society has towards Black people. Why? Because we are America's original sin, that they have taken advantage of us. They've gotten rich off of us. So that's why when it comes to like reparations, they don't want to acknowledge that, because by acknowledging it, whether it be in payments or whatever, then by acknowledging it, you're also admitting to the whole world what you did. And then the whole world will look at that and say, oh, we got a case against you too. The good folks of the Caribbean and the good folks of Africa, in the continent of Africa, hey, we got a bone to pick with you guys too as well in the whole damn world. And historically, one of the things that has put us in this trick bag is this whole concept, this whole created concept of race and color, which is a human-made concept. To our good brothers in the continent, they identify themselves, if I'm correct, by their tribe, their ancestry and geographical location, while we in America, we are focused on this thing called Black this and Black that, when that doesn't really technically define us culturally, but it's something that we have adopted because we're the only people in this country who have been, we went from being called niggas to Negro to colored people to Afro-Americans. I don't think there's anybody that's had so many alias names than us. I mean, and so I don't know what the next word going to be in the 22nd century when we're not here. What we're going to be called next? I mean, hell, at the rate we're going, we might be in a damn museum. But I think that there's a lot of internal strife and hatred that people don't want to use those. But see, this is the thing, though, my dear brother Yard. It is our responsibility to tell these Black politicians, as well as the white politicians, I don't accept the term people of color. Identify me just like you identify everyone else. When Biden came out with the crime bill for Asian people, and people say, well, no, that was for everybody. No, I read the bill. Most of the wording in it was all about Asian people. And then check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I think Phil of the Advice Show did a story on this. They did a study, and they found out the majority of the Asians that were being attacked were not being attacked by Black people in large numbers. That majority of the people that were attacking them were white people. But the media didn't set it up that way. Yeah. And the reason why I bring this up, Brother Yard, because it's the continuing demonization of Black people that allows them to have the excuses to not recognize us in the way that they should, because we are the criminals that they want to make us out to be. I'm going to rest there. I really appreciate being on today.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you, man.
on.
Good seeing you, brother. Please come back.
Yeah, I'll
and
be
join us,
back.
man.
Yeah, I'm getting you guys back into my algorithms because YouTube has a way of punching people out of the algorithms. So I've got you guys channeled into the algorithms. Good. I gotta have you guys back on the channel because we gotta have this discussion. Is an excellent discussion, and I just think that. Let me ask this question before I leave, and I'll be quiet. Do you think that black people are politically lazy? Because why are we not, or it appears like we don't get in the asses of our black leadership about these very issues like we should. Look at what happened in Chicago. Black people in Chicago said, what about us? We, the people that vote for you, we this, and look at what they got. Are we politically lazy?
Yes, I'm going to answer that with a yes, and I'll give you a small example. In black neighborhoods, black people scream all the time. The cars are driving too fast. Their kids running around. The cars are driving too fast. That's all they do. They scream and they cuss and they yell. White people in the same neighborhood go to City Hall and say, we need speed bumps on our streets. And they would not stop until they get those speed bumps on their streets. They go or they petition. They come around with a list. Sign this if you want a speed bump on this street because the cars are going too fast. Petition after petition. Within months, of course, there's a speed bump there. Of course, the cars got to slow down. The kids can play. Black people just scream and yell and cuss. The cars are going too fast. So I answer that question with an astounding yes. And I got several more examples, but that is one that stuck out to me.
So let me ask this question. When you look at the history of the Black Panther Party that was created in Oakland, California, one of the reasons why it was created is because these young black men were looking out after the community. An example of what you just said, Brother Yard, was that same thing where they were tired of cars driving through the neighborhoods fast and hitting kids. So the Black Panther Party started off with this small idea of protecting the community, patrolling the community, and I think we don't have. We have wannabe. There's some group out there that wants to claim themselves as Black Panther, but we don't have. I can make the argument that black people, our elders and our older black people, were more politically savvy and not as lazy. But that's because they were living in a situation where they didn't have the rights that we have. Right. I think because we have more rights today, it has made black people lazy and complacent because we got these things that we can now do that we couldn't do before. So there's no real, because you know how black people operate. We operate the best when we're under struggle. Where is the struggle for black people today?
Everything is a little easy. And
it's a little easy.
Yeah, it's a little easy. Everything is, I call it a microwave era. Everybody wants everything in 30 to 60 seconds.
Right.
They just want it quick, fast.
You know, we can buy a car now. We can live in certain neighborhoods. Yes, there's discrimination, but I don't think we have that same thrust.
Can I say some information, man?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. We always talk about elders and older people. I just want to bring to everybody's attention that just might don't think about it.
Yes, sir.
Going back to the 60s, and we talk about Dr. King and Jesse Jackson. I'm going to bring his name up, and a few other guys back in those days. We forget those guys were in their 20s.
Yes.
They weren't old men at all. They were doing all of this stuff. Dr. King was doing all this stuff in his 20s.
Right.
In his in his 30s. They were young men doing this.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
They weren't.
Right.
You know, we look.
I just call them elders because they're my elders now. You know.
Yeah, no. So we look at the guy. We think of Dr. King as an old man. He was only 38 when he was killed.
That's right.
39, right? 38, 39 when he was killed, right? He didn't see 40 yet.
Isn't that so deep? We call them elders and they were young.
Yeah, I'm just saying. We'll bring that. We always had this illusion that all those guys back in the 60s that were doing all the marching and the protesting and carrying the mantle for us, you know, and fighting for our rights. Were these men in their 50s and 60s? Those guys were in their 20s, man. Think about that. They were in their 20s and early 30s doing that work.
Right. But see, this is the thing. You have young people today from this generation that have been speaking out. But what's happening is we're doing exactly what they did to us, which is telling them to shut up. So when you say, yeah, it was young people who started these movements, we have young people today that are trying to get movements off the ground. I'm not talking about the Black Lives Matter stuff. I'm talking about grassroots stuff in the community, which nobody gives a damn. Well, no, they're not getting the support that they should get. They're out there. We just don't hear about these groups. What they do is they tell you about Black Lives Matter because they politicize Black Lives Matter.
Right.
You know, but so you're right. You're absolutely right.
Fans. So you and I, especially you and I, we listen to Joe Madison every morning.
Yes, sir.
And then Urban View. I listen to Urban View all day, actually.
I listen to it all day, too.
Play Kane, all those guys. So my point is, and Karen Hunter, and I was on the Karen Hunter show, by the way.
That's fantastic. I got to listen to it.
I was on her show, man. So my point is
wow.
Do we, are we missing opportunity to bring up the new people? Like Karen Hunter says all the time, she was on MSNBC. And they kicked her off because she was too deep for them.
Right.
You know. The girl Angela Rye.
They got rid of her.
I think she's dating the dude that just got. She's dating a basketball player right now. Just got kicked off. Jalen Rose. You know, they're a couple right now.
Wow.
But she was deep. She was too deep for CNN. You don't see her on TV no more.
No, but it goes back to the point that we made before, my brother, about lighting the torch.
Right.
The legitimate elders that we have today that are in power in Congress or the Senate, they should be reaching out back. Because if a Bobby Seale, who was a Black Panther member, could become a congressman or a senator, whichever one it is, then why can't these young people out there that are rebel rising today, why can't they be our next senators and Congress people? We've got to get them in the fold, but we can't look down upon them. And this is a problem I see, particularly for Black people, where we tend to look at our youth as, they don't know nothing. They don't know this and that. These kids today are more technically savvy and aware than we are with all their technology.
Look at two brothers from Tennessee, but they didn't disappear off the map that quick.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're around. It's just that they had their 5 minutes of fame. They're around.
Yeah, they're still around.
But we should. Sorry to cut you off, Cap. We should promote our young people to be more into the political field, but also remember it's a whole lot of politics. There's a whole lot of politics. Everything is politics. And my thing is, it's people out there that really want to help, but they rather work for the grassroots because it's not all that extra stuff that goes along with it, all this red tape that goes along with it. Right. What about being independent? Why Black people can't be independent? I always thought about that.
But we've never been taught to be independent.
It's enough of us.
Right.
Yeah, but for some reason we don't. I mean, Kevin, we talked about this before on the show. There was a Black news channel, BNN, the Black News Network. It went out of business. It went off because enough Black people did not support it. We talk all the
Black
time.
News channel. Yeah.
You know why, though, brother? Black people didn't support that channel. I'm going to give you a very good reason why. Mm-hmm. Today's youth, Generation X, we got Z generation, the millennials. If you literally look at the channel, they are really regurgitating the same stuff, the same format that we've already seen already. They weren't really speaking to what Black people are dealing with at the grassroots level. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's why, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but that's why people who have channels like myself, there's tons of Black people on social media that have platforms that they've created for themselves. And we can get more attention than they would, because why? I'm gonna have a conversation that speaks to the grassroots of Black people and what we deal with right now. I think the Black channel, what they did is they struggled to get enough spots on cable, which was a mistake. They should have started out in digital first. Even Roland Martin said this. They should have started out primarily in digital. They tried to go for the cable and didn't get enough cable. Right. And then they did not recognize what Black people really wanted to listen to. They were regurgitating the same talking points that you can get on BET or something else. So you can't hear me? Am I muted?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So even though I didn't want them to leave, I just don't think that
So
they were hitting the marketplace of what young black people are looking for. This is why they come on social media. They don't listen to stuff on TV anymore.
So before we go, Tyler Perry just bought BET. You think that's going to make a difference?
Not that he put our show on there.
No, I'm just gonna say this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give instead of me just being skeptical.
Yeah.
I want to give the brother a chance and see what he does, and then I can make my criticism either positive or negative. But I'll tell you this: I want him to be successful. Yeah. I just don't have. It's not in my best interest to want the brother to not do well. I want him to be successful. So I'm hoping that he produces great shows, that he turns things around. I'm hoping for that. I'm going to get ready to drop off, but I'm hoping for the best.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you.
Thank you so much for coming
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. We always say we haven't heard you in a while. We wasn't sure what was going on, but
Nah, I'm back. Now y'all see me over here, man. I'll promote your show and everything like that. But
yes, it's saying
hey,
make sure y'all check him out. Information Man. Definitely.
And it's always good to see you when you come over to my program too, sister. See you in the chat room and you make.
See, I be going there, right?
Yeah, I don't have no problem. I want people to go in and express themselves and just tell the truth how it is. But I want Tyler Perry to be successful. I want black people to be successful. I don't want Trump to get in the White House, and I want us to make the Democratic Party better than what it is by us being active locally and nationally. And that's the best way we can do it. And by the way, brother, I love Karen Hunter. I watch her and I listen to her on the radio more. I know she has a YouTube thing. I must have missed that one. I'm gonna have to look that up in the archives and listen to your interview.
I was on her show.
Is it on YouTube? Because she puts.
I was on her show before the pandemic, man. So
I can look it up because I know she put a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, I was on the year before the pandemic. I'll see if I can find what episode it was.
If you find the episode, I think you still should. Hopefully, you got my email still. Just send it to me on the email. I like to listen to that.
I'll see if I can find it, man. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna see her probably this fall because they're doing a comedy show. She does a comedy, and I'm gonna be involved in that. So yeah, I'll be seeing Karen Hunter again this year. But I was on her show. I think right before the pandemic, I was on her show before all that mess happened, man. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let me know too. I don't know what. Let me know if you're ever performing in the California area, specifically in the Northern California area, so that I can come out and support you. Same thing with you, Yard. Anybody, whatever you're doing, if I'm close to it and I can come out and support it, send me an email. Say, hey man, I'm gonna be in town at this particular spot. This show, the name of the show, and then I can get my tickets and all that good stuff. All right.
Yeah. You never have to pay to see me, man. If I'm in your neighborhood.
Nah, man, I'm gonna support you though. All right, that's the bottom line. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, bro.
All right. All right. Thanks, everyone.
I don't mess with Karen. All right, God.
Karen.
I don't mess with Karen Hunter. I was on her thing one day about to go in like you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank Information Man for dropping in, and wow, we are like heading toward 2 hours, and we kept up our audience. So it must have been entertaining. So I want to thank everyone for checking out the show.
Thank you. Yes.
Tiffany, we didn't get to your 40 Acres and a Mule, but we definitely hit that next Sunday.
Yes.
Definitely.
We'll do it.
Yes, absolutely.
This was a good show. We needed this.
Yeah. Kathleen Melrose, she was commenting a lot of great stuff. I'm going to read a couple of her comments. Kathleen, thank you so much on checking us out on YouTube. She said, can't even get the average apartment without criminal background check and high credit score rating. Never had that in the past. Yeah. So to rent an apartment, you need a criminal background. So if you have a criminal background, you're not supposed to live anywhere. Like,
yeah, they make sure that you can't do anything. And it's sad that you're gonna have to either lie or you're gonna have somebody else help you get your apartment when people trying to start their life over.
Wow. All right. So, Tiffany, anything you learned today, or you want to share with our audience before we go?
No, I'm glad that we are having a conversation. And Information Man was right. I gotta do more for our community, especially if we want to give back. And don't get it twisted, I do want to give back, but I done saw so many people play games with people in the community, and it makes me sad. And like I said, you can't do anything about it because it's politics, So yeah, do more for your community, what you can do without the red tape. Still have the conversation. Do look at Ice Cube's the contract for Black America. You should look at it. It's good. I think Dr. Claude Anderson helped him with this. If y'all know about Dr. Claude Anderson, he's the author of Black Economics, and he tells you from the bottom to the top what you should do for us as people to be on top, especially with Black economics. But we don't want to follow those rules and regulations. So check him out, Claude Anderson, and the contract for Black America. And love your family, love yourselves, and think of others, and God bless.
All right, don't make Tiffany take off her earrings.
No doubt.
Kevin, anything you want to share?
Yeah, man. I want to thank Information Man for joining us. I know he did some time in prison and he's out. He came and joined our show, so that's good. Welcome home, brother. Welcome home, brother. Glad you're back. Ain't nothing wrong. Good 6 months in jail for suspended driver's license. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Be honest.
He was in podcast jail.
Man, no, it was a good show, guys. Good seeing everybody. And we all, everybody brought the truth tonight. It was a beautiful thing to hear. And
yes.
Next week's show gonna be fire again. So be back next week, guys. We're bringing the fire every week. We ain't playing around. It's crunch time.
All right. Before I go, I want to say I hope I see the day where Black people really do get together. I know we say it a lot, and we see other groups doing it. I always reference the Jews specifically. They hold tight. No matter how much money they make, they still hold tight. And nobody tells them, you got money, shut up, sit down, But they're telling Jill Scott because she's got some bucks that she should not care about what's going on in the Black community.
I love you, Jill.
Oh, I love Jill. I loved her more. I was not even a Jill Scott fan, but I'm so a Jill Scott fan because she shared her.
Love me some Jill Scott, man. That's
Jill
a bad girl.
Is sexy.
Putting them BBWs back on the map.
Poetress. I already been on the map.
Yeah. Kathleen Melrose from
back on the map.
Kathleen says we're underrated. She says you guys are underrated.
Who said that? Oh, thank you very much.
Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family we here. No.
Kathleen, we bring the heat every Sunday. We are unapologetically honest. We don't yell, we don't swear, we don't talk down to Black people, we don't make shit up.
Yeah.
We research everything we talk about. We just bring the truth. That's all we do. We're not here
through our eyes.
10 views or 10 million views. It'll be the same show every freaking Sunday.
Sunday. You're playing around.
Tell your friends and your family. And with that out of the way, we will see you guys next Sunday. Tiffany and Kevin, I love you guys.
Love you, brother. Love you, Tiff.
Love you.
And
make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure, because the live chat goes away. So make sure y'all leave a comment. Tell us what you think, because we want to know. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, let us know. If you want to come up here and talk to us and tell us what you think, we will love it too. Just let us know. Go to the Black Therapy Show at gmail.com.
Thank you, Tiffany. Mm-hmm. And with that, we're out.
Peace. See y'all next Sunday.
And Black people, when you see other Black people smile and nod, some kind of, I passed a couple of brothers and they just stared at me like they wanted to hurt me.
Yeah, man.
But give the head nod, like
Self-hate, baby. Self-hate
Yeah.
is real. Self-hate is
give the
real.
head nod.
Yeah.
He just leaves his chair.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the black therapy.
Getting ready for bed.
No, I gotta get my baby to sleep. I ain't going to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning, girl.
Because we gotta unite. No more killing each other. It's time to see a new future. Sisters and brothers, you know it can't be calling.
Puppy, say hi to my puppy. Oh, sorry, Jax. Oh, you okay, buddy? Come on. Hey, Jax.
The right
What's up? Say hi, Jax.
exponentially. Penitentiaries, we built on the schools.
Say hi, Jax.
Brainwash education just in the schools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God above. It's God, Kevin, and Tiffany.
Angelo.
The Black Therapy Show.